Hey guys, this is Al again back at the shop. I got the Arnage up on the lift, or positioned on the lift, so I haven't raised it yet. So today what I'm going to try to do is put the car up in the air, take a look at what's underneath it to see what we've got in terms of damage. I know that there's a problem with the coolant leaking. I mean, you just pour it through the coolant reservoir, it just pours straight out. So that's one big thing that I need to figure out, because the car's running very, very hot very, very quickly, and we all know that that's not a good thing for Bentleys. I'd also like to inspect the underside, and if I can get the opportunity, I'd like to also sync the alarm system. So I've been looking at some VW specific sites on how to sync their alarm systems, and I'd like to sync the alarm system with the key fob so that I can get this alarm turned off, because it's still going off. It's just that the siren's been disconnected, which is why we don't hear it, but it's still very active. So that's my goal for today, and let's take a look. Let's see what's going on. So let's take a look and see what's going on. So the first place I saw a leak from was, oh, there you go. Didn't wet, but this thing's come apart. So this thing slipped out. So that's an easy fix. That's something that I can take care of right away while I'm underneath here. So that's a good thing. That makes me happy. So that's my coolant leak. See where that sensor is on the pan. It's kind of wet. What else have we got? We've got everything else looks okay. Floor pans look okay. I was worried, they had to fork the car up, so I was kind of worried that there might have been some kind of damage from doing that, but it's okay. Fuel filter. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting, I guess this is like the modern day rat trap. It's got a great big master cylinder connected to this deal. It's like a big distribution valve. I don't know what to call them, but a little bit wet here on that connection at the master cylinder. But after that, everything's okay. Exhaust pipe's taken a bit of a. Ooh, there's a little bit of wetness down here. I don't know what that is. It's on the back of the transmission. So it's probably transmission fluid. Shock boots need to be replaced on both sides. See if you can see there. Shock boots need to be replaced on both sides. And then you get to the shit show. So somebody decided in their infinite wisdom to cut the spare wheel well. I'm guessing this happened when the car got forked. So the exhaust got damaged. Kind of expect that to happen. It's annoying. And there's obviously a cover over here that's made out of, it looks to be fiberglass. that's broken, so maybe I'll make another one out of fiberglass myself. And that covers the rear accumulator and the fuel pumps all the way up there. Alright, so there we are. I'm going to go and start working on that line and get that line fixed for the cooler, and then lower the car again and see if I can get it going, and then I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with my alarm system. Alright guys, so this is the hose that was disconnected. It's using those stupid clamps, these guys, which are kind of annoying, especially where it is, because they sit right on top of the sway bar, and there's not really, you know, a way for me to get my little needle nose or channel locks or anything around it so that I can depress them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swap them over with regular Jubilee clips, and then, you know, remount it, and everything else should be fine. So that's going to be the next step. So these are the Jubilee clips I'm going to use. They're pretty stout. They're from they're really designed for fuel injection hoses. So they're probably more than adequate for a cooling system, unless I have some major problems, and then, you know, I've got bigger problems to deal with if I get pressure buildup that's worse than this. But in any case, they should be more than stout. So this is what I'm going to use in place of the those quick release ones. And what it will allow me to do is it will allow me to get a screwdriver on there and just tighten it up. So should be able to put it on in a jiffy, and then add coolant and see what happens. Alright, thank you. Alright guys, so I end up actually not using that hose and just using a piece of similar size hose that I bought for my fuel system, putting that in place, because that hose was a little bit too short. I'm sure the hose is the right size, but I guess in the movement or everything else like that, this piece over here must have moved a little bit, kind of got a little bit bent in the process of whatever happened, I'm not sure. But in any case, it needs a longer hose, so I extended the hose by about 1/2 centimeter, and again I used those fuel injection hose clamps, which are easier obviously to put on. So I'm going to go top it up now with coolant. You know, as you probably guess, it's at the bottom of the engine, so most of the coolant that I poured into the radiator poured out again. So we'll just start adding and see what happens. So the alarm's going off right now, that's why it's flashing. It's just the sirens aren't doing anything. So I'm going to add some distilled water to begin with, because distilled water is only 80 cents a gallon. And I'm going to see if that distilled water runs down. If it doesn't, I'll add a gallon of coolant. Alright, so got it using a gallon of Presto concentrated. Before anyone freaks out that I'm not using Xerex or the gold stuff or the BMW blue stuff or I don't know what else, you can probably use any kind of coolant in your car as long as you change the coolant often. That's the key thing. If you're changing the coolant every couple of years, you never have to worry about it. If you don't, then even the green stuff is fine, but if you don't, then the coolant can break down and you can cause internal corrosion. So any coolant's fine. I'm using this stuff because it's readily available and it doesn't cost a lot of money. If I was driving this car daily or once I get it into serviceable shape, I will consider using the correct coolant for these cars, or switch over to Xerox, which I'm really fond of, or the BMW stuff, which I'm fond of, which is now also used by Mercedes, the blue stuff. But for now, this is fine. I'm going to go ahead and pre-mix the rest of this stuff so that when... Alright. So I had to remove the sound from this segment of the video because of all the profanities that changed hands at this point. That's my helper. His name's Vaughn. I've worked with him for about 6 years. I've known him since he was about, probably about 8 years. I've known him since he was about 16 years old. A fantastic mechanic. So we pretty sure I bled the system completely now. It's it had a bunch of air inside it, and what we ended up having to do is there's another radiator cap that sits on the back of the block. It's higher than anything else, so you kind of want to fill it up through there and then bleed it out through there. So I tried that, and I was able to, I think, bleed out most of the system to now where when I feel the radiator, the top radiator hose, I can actually feel water in there, and it's nice and warm. But it still seems to creep up in temperature, which has me a little bit concerned, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Could be a head gasket, could be something else, could be a stuck thermostat, could be whatever, right? I mean, right now, it took forever to get the thermostat to open, but that could be because it was not getting any kind of water in it. It didn't know to open because there wasn't any water on one side of the engine or the other. But in any case, we have a little bit of a situation in that sense. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time on it, just kind of do a little bit more investigation. It's not, the pressure inside the hose is not building up to the point where the hoses are red hard, and that would kind of typically be indicative of a faulty head gasket. When you're getting compression gases going into the cooling system, this cooling system starts filling up with air, and it becomes basically, the hoses become rock hard. I'm not getting that with this car, so I'm still hopeful that there's no head gasket issue or anything else like that. But given that that hose was connected, and I'm sure people try to run this car at some point or another, and it just over and over again, there could be an issue. It could still have some air trapped in it as well, which could still be an issue. But I'll do a little bit more tinkering. I'm also going to try to plug my scanner in and take a look at some of the codes, and I'll update you guys accordingly. All right, thank you.